Hey now, it's been a little while since we did a fun sourdough for the kids, so I thought today we would make a...
banana oat chocolate chip sourdough.
That's almost hard to say. Yeah, let's do it. What we're going to be doing is sort of a version of my same-day sourdough process. I made the leaven last night. This is now the morning. We're ready to make everything, so let's get started. All right, so we're going to be making the dough in this awesome plastic proofing bin that I've got. I really like these because when you go to actually clean them out, you just have to let whatever remnants of dough are in here just dry out and everything flakes off. Super, super easy to clean. Also, you can see through them, which is really nice. Now, to start off here, I've got filtered water and I'm going to be using 390 grams. So this is going to be 78% of the actual flour and oats that we're putting in here. All of the ingredients that I've got, I use a percentage, and that is a percentage of the 500 total grams, which is going to be that combo of the oats and the flour that goes in here. So I've got the water in here. I like to start off with the water because it's just going to make it so I don't wind up with as many potential pockets of dry ingredients stuck down on the bottom of that. I'm going to be adding some sugar to this here as well. So that's 8 grams of just a nice golden brown sugar, which works out to 40 grams as well. I'm just going to put that in there. Shimmy it just a little bit. We're going to add the oats. I'm going with 100 grams of oats in here, which is 20% of just the dry ingredients here for the flour and the oats. And let's get that all-purpose flour in here. So that's 400 grams of the flour, 100 grams of the oats, and then we have that brown sugar. I'm just going to mix this up here for a minute or two, and we're going to have a nice little autolyse. Okay, here we are, all nicely mixed. Now, I just want to have a quick word about the oats that are in here. I'm just going with quick oats. I didn't want to use anything that would require a lot of cooking or anything like that, or that would be too stiff, so I can just add them directly into this. I also went with a slightly higher hydration than I normally do in my sourdough, just because I'm expecting those oats to absorb a little bit of that extra water. So I'm just going to let this sit here in autolyse. So after a 30-minute autolyse, and a person could definitely give it more than that if you wanted, but I want to get going on this bread, we are ready to enter the next phase where we're going to be adding all of our other ingredients. So we're going to start off here with leaven, which I have had rising in here. And for that, we're going with 125 grams or 25% of leaven. Now I have 2 mostly ripe bananas here, and we're going to want to just kind of chop and mash them up.
Yum.
So we kind of have this chopped up and slightly mushed here. Whew. Let's get this in. There we go. Got all of our banana in there. Oh, indeed, right?
Yeah.
And now we also want to add our salt and some cinnamon. So I'm going with 1.8% of fine sea salt, or 9 grams, and 0.8% or 4 grams of cinnamon. Cinnamon's going to be delicious in this. I don't want to add a whole ton of it because I know that it can slow down yeast activity just a little bit. So let's see if we can just sprinkle this around a little bit here.
Yum.
Nice. And then we've got our chocolate chips. So this is, again, 25% or 125 grams of those chocolate chips. We'll sprinkle those in here. A person could add those during a lamination, but you know what? I just want to get everything in here right off the bat, all nicely mixed up, and it's good to go. So now this is the fun part. We're just going to take a few minutes here and get everything all combined. So having mixed this up here, I'm seeing that this is a little bit more wet than I expected with those bananas. So as with any good experiment, we're going to pivot and try something here. I'm going to add another 100 grams of oats, and I'm hoping that that's going to just adjust the hydration level of this sourdough here. So I'm just going to mix this in for another minute. And there we are. So now I'm going to let this just sit here and do its thing for the next hour, covered up. So after that hour, let's take a look here. I'm very curious to see exactly how wet this is. Okay, this is a bit better than before. I'm going to attempt to do sort of a stretch and fold little situation here just to build some strength. And then I'm going to cover this back up and give it another half hour here, and we'll see what it looks like then. After 30 minutes, let's take another look at this here. We'll see. Woo. Yep, still a little sticky, a little sloppy, but we are going to get some stretches in here anyway. Cover it back up and then let it sit for another 30 minutes. All right, so now I'm going to take another look at this here. I'm just going to flour my hands a little bit and see if I can pull off a little bit. There we go. A little bit of a coil fold. Just like so. I'm going to do it both directions. That'll just be a little bit gentler on the dough. All right, I am now going to leave this here and just let it keep fermenting. So I gave this an additional 2 coil folds, 30 minutes apart, and then this sat for 6 hours here, which is quite a long time for my sourdough, but I think just with everything going on in here, the banana, the oats, the chocolate chips, this is taking a little bit longer to ferment. But at this point, I am ready to deal with it here. So I'm just flouring up, and I'm going to get this out onto my counter. All right, and now I'm just going to do a little pre-shape with this dough. This is still really quite wet. All right, and I'm going to let this sit here for a few minutes. All right, so after just another couple of minutes there, I'm just going to get this. I'm going to add a little bit of rice. Okay, I'm gonna add a lot of rice flour to the top of it here, and it's going to go into this rice flour and lined banneton. I'm going to get this covered up with the plastic and pop this in the fridge while my cast iron preheats. All right, so the cast iron is preheated in the oven at 500 degrees. That's all nice and hot. It is truly the moment to see exactly how this is going to go. So just with parchment paper and the old pizza peel here, flip this over. Going to do just a really simple scoring pattern on top of this bread. We're going to get it in. So I've gotten the cast iron combo cooker here. I've just turned that down to 440 degrees and we're going to give it 35 minutes. All right, that time is up and we need to check on this bread and see what it looks like. Ooh, here we go. It smells amazing in here. All right, we got to pop this out. All right, so now just because I've got the chocolate chips and a little bit of that sugar in there, I'm just going to leave this right on the oven grate on the parchment paper for the rest of the time. All right, and after 22 minutes at 420 degrees, we are done. And I'm just going to let it cool down here on the rack. All right, we have chilled down here. This not terribly high-rise bread, but I've got a couple of excited people who want to try it. So let's slice in and see what we're working with here. All right, okay. So this is looking like a mostly dense loaf. Ooh, but it smells really good. This smells like banana bread, actually. What do you think, Chris? All right, okay, so we're not going to bother with appearance, but we are going to slice into this and see how it tastes. All right? What do we have? What do we taste?
Banana.
Banana?
Chocolate chips.
Ooh.
I can definitely taste the oats.
Oh, nice.
Cinnamon.
Yeah. Can you taste the flour? No. Oh, yeah, the rice flour on the outside. Very cool. All right, verdict on this bread. You know, it was close. It had all the flavors we were looking for. I think that higher hydration that I just sort of overshot based on what I had kind of anticipated happening wound up creating a stickier dough and something that just really couldn't quite get the structure, the rise, and therefore the crumb that I was looking for. But you know what? It was really delicious. Kids are loving it, and certainly not a real miss in that regard. But we can do better, and we shall. We'll try this one again, tweaking things a little bit, so stay tuned for that.
What do you think of it, girls?
Awesome.
Incredibly awesome.
Is this a bread we should try to make again sometime?
Yes.
Yeah? So what do we take this bread to?
11.
11.
Woo!